What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Did quite the run around this morning. Kind of drove around, did some errands, helped my brother with his car, had a little small welding job this morning as well too, and I also went to Honda to go pick up some fluids for the differential, and we're finally back in the garage. So when I received the S1 Delta 7 rear diff mount, I also got the rear flange that I needed to complete my 1310 joint upgrade kit, also from S1. And I believe I got this one. This is for the rear CRV differential flange, and this is literally the 1310 joint that goes with it. When I got this kit originally, the back flange was for a wagon which went into Joaquim's car, and he already had a full custom drive shaft. So this right here I am going to use on this car. Yesterday I went to the storage, got my Freelander Vistas coupler and the drive shafts so we can take it to the shop, which was supposed to be today, but like I said, I kind of ran around all morning that I kind of forgot about it. But I am most definitely going to drop off the yoke kit and the drive shaft to the shop that I go to, which is called South Bay Driveline. Now I did measure underneath the car from the CRV to the transfer case, 68 3/4. That's the measurement that the shop needs to weld this all up and lengthen the full drive shaft completely so it can be a bolt-on to the car. It's literally the last thing I need for this all-wheel drive car, other than mounting up the Vistas coupler once we get the drive shaft in place, and to build the exhaust system. And I think just by how good the back end looks, I think the exhaust system is going to be different when I do it again. You're probably going to have to stick around to see that. I went to Honda to grab rear differential fluid, and they didn't have the Honda version, even though the Acura one's the same. So I got 3 of these. I paid $31, and the differential for the CRV uses 1.1 quart. Now, because I need to fill the giveaway car and this one, I bought 3. So I was searching for my pump, and I forgot that I broke it and I threw it away. So I'm trying my best here with a long neck funnel to fill this differential up. Let's not be an idiot. Oh, okay. This is not working out. All right, take 1000 modified cap. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Even though this is gonna take forever. That's how it sounds when I'm in the bathroom after eating Taco Bell. I didn't really have too much planned for today, but I do want to definitely get started on the K24 block. Now, we're not going to rebuild this in this video, but I need to tear it down to further inspect the rest of the block to ensure this block is good for the rebuild. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about here, this is my KRX. I blew it up at the track last November. The 20 seized up, which is sitting right there. And I got a replacement 24 TSX engine from the Junkyard that I was just going to plop in there, but I decided to rebuild it instead. So we do have everything entirely to rebuild this engine. I just haven't gotten around to it. But after going to the CRX owners meet and a lot of the friends asking me about it, I kind of feel like I need to stop slacking. Let's get the KRX up and going again. So we're gonna tear into that block a little bit today. So before we get to the K24, this guy here, I've been putting this off for a little while. So if you guys have seen me driving around La Ponda, you guys probably noticed that I've always been driving on an empty tank. But I'm not, in fact, on an empty tank. This thing wasn't working. It will be on Super E, even on a full tank. And just the other day, going to the NorCal CRX owners meet, this thing started working, but it would kind of just bounce around, up and down, all around. And right now it says half tank, but I'm certain I don't have half tank. I have probably 3/4 if anything, but when I drive, this thing is moving up and down. So I'm not entirely sure what's causing that to do what it's doing. If the cluster was messed up, it'll be, I mean, I would need a new cluster, right? Or at least for that, because I don't really know how to mess with the circuit on it. But the other thing would be the sending unit. So shout out to Leo, he dropped us off a little while ago from a CRX. He parted it out, and I kind of want to change this to see if the floater in the tank is messed up, which is causing that to do what it does. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my back storage compartment just so I have access to the tank, which is under this. I'll show you guys that. And then when you take off the cover, this is accessible from there. So let's see if it changes the reading based off the floater. Okay, it's going up. Kind of. Yeah, it's most definitely moving. Okay, it's still climbing. It's still climbing. That's a good sign. Okay, already right off the bat, compared to the original sending unit, the gas gauge would be moving all over the place already. And so far, it's been steady at 3/4 tank. I am at about 85 miles since full from going to the meet. So that's awesome. Hopefully the fuel gauge is working correctly. This is a K24a2 TSX engine I got from the junkyard. That one came from the junkyard. That one came from the junkyard. That one came from the junkyard. But this one right here, I originally cleaned it. I was getting it ready to put this into the KRX because I did pop the engine that was in it in November. And after cleaning everything and assembling my manifold and all that, I realized that the rotating assembly didn't really move. So I was like, man, don't know what's really going on. And then I just like, you know what? Let's just pull the head off and see what's really going on inside here, right? There was just a lot of gunk build up inside here. I guess the engine sat with like no spark plugs, and there was like a lot of stuff here that when you rotate the crank one way, it'll completely stop when it gets to the top because it's being compressed with all the gunk that was here. And once I cleared it all out, the rotating assembly rotated perfectly fine. So when we got to this stage, I kind of thought about, you know, the head's going to get resurfaced because it's already off. We're going to change the water pump, time belt, chain tensioner, the whole 9. And then I was like, you know what, let's take it a little further. Let's rebuild the bottom end as well too. So I bought new piston rings, new bearings, new everything to make this bottom end 0 miles. And actually been putting it off for quite some time now because of all the other things that's been going on here on the channel. If you guys watch, you guys know. So because talking to some of the guys at the NorCal CRX owners meet, kind of built that little oomph to get back on the KRX and really get it back up on the road. Now I did mention that I am going to get rid of the red all-wheel drive CRX, or at least I think I mentioned it, but I'm getting rid of the red one because obviously I don't need 4 CRXs. La Panda's gonna go, the giveaway CRX is gonna go. I'm gonna get rid of this one to have only 1 CRX, which is the KRX, the silver one. If you guys don't remember, it kind of just been hibernating here for a little while now, kind of sad. But I want to build this car to pretty much replace this one. B all-wheel drive turbo. I'm going to the K platform, build a K all-wheel drive turbo, and I already made a video of the manifold that I made that I'm going to be running in the car, and it's just been sitting here collecting dust, just kind of waiting for its time to shine. Now I don't know if I mentioned this as well too, I do want to build an EF sedan this year. I want to make that into a track car, make this my street car, which this was. But then I thought about it, I was like, you know, I already did a couple all-wheel drive CRXs. Let's shift focus and change directions. And I think I'm coming to terms with this idea instead. The KRX purpose was to be a track car. That's what I wanted to do with it. And actually it wasn't even supposed to stay this long, but now that it's under my name, it's kind of part of my fleet now, right? So this is my track car. I took it to the track. I had a great time. And then I popped the engine and I shift the idea of making that my all-wheel drive K24 turbo monster. But because I've already done all-wheel drive CRXs, I was like, you know what, let's just stick to the game plan. Let's put the 24 in here and still keep this car as a track car. I then decided that I wanted to make the EF sedan the K20 all-wheel drive turbo and make that my street car. You wouldn't think when a four-door pulls up, you're like, just a four-door, you know? And then, you know, it's got some oomph into it. It's gonna have the good old S1 bling bling down there, so if you look in the back of the four-wheel drive, you will know. You will know. Now the idea is not set in stone yet, guys, but I think I'm leaning towards that. But really, to get anything in motion, I literally have to start with this. So the only thing I need to do with this here is to take it apart to see if the crank is any good. I'm pretty sure there's no fluids in here, but I do have a box down there just in case. I'm gonna flip it over so we can start taking out the pan and really dive into the block itself. Okay, that's good. So it looks like I already pulled the pan off. I don't remember, but there's only about 3 bolts on here. Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering where my K20 oil pump went. I was looking for it all over the place, only to find out that I must have installed it here already. So the K20 pump is already modified to fit the 24 block. And okay, well that's good to know. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop off the oil pump and the windage tray so we can get to all of the girdle bolts somewhere, because I've never opened up a K before. So these rod bolts are new to me. They are apparently E14 inverted Torx. Now I was a little worried because I was like, man, I don't got an inverted Torx, or never even heard of it. So I went through my little box of Torx bits, and sure enough, there's sockets here. So I do have an E14, and I called Nomis to verify this, and that is an E14. So I'm gonna go ahead and just break all these rod bolts loose before we get to the girdle bolts. This is crazy. So guys, the crank looks really good. There's like no scoring, no scratches, nothing on it whatsoever. It looks kind of dry because I sprayed some brake clean on it just to get a lot of the oil off of it. But if you look, really nicely polished. I was gonna hone out the block as well too, just to have it ready when we put the engine together, but I think I'm just gonna hold off. When we get closer to actually putting the engine together, then we'll hone it just to have it fresh then and there. So not much more I can do as of right now, but just now knowing that the crank is actually in great shape, we can move forward with setting a day for Nomis to come out here and help me rebuild this motor, because I'm gonna do it. I just need his guidance. He builds engines for a living, kind of, and I just need his pro tips and tricks in guiding me to assembling this bottom end. So this is good. Now I just got to find a place to put everything away, find some good detergent to clean a lot of this oil, gunk and stuff, just to get everything all nice and clean for when we put this together. They're not going to be all oily, you know what I mean?
responsible. What up, Jay Diddy here. Are you ready for summer? Wherever summer...
South Bay Driveline. So guys, it is the next day of the next day. The previous clips was yesterday, and the clips of the differential and the 24 teardown was 2 days ago. Reason being is because yesterday I kind of took the day off for myself because it was my birthday. I started my morning off by going to the range and kind of popping off with the G17. I also rented a CZ75, and I love that gun before. I just never took ownership of one. So did that. I went to go grab some sushi for myself because I haven't had sushi in the whole entire year. And then I went to the lake where I used to go fishing a lot over there, and that's where my uncle with the van always took us for boating and things like that. I went over there just kind of see if the water was still up or down. It was pretty low, but there was still people out there boating and having a great time in the weather. But I went over there, ate my lunch there. I was there for about maybe 3 hours, and then I came home. I crashed out for a little bit, and then I went to go watch Jurassic World Domination. That's how I ended my night. I went a little bit of live stream on Instagram, and then today I woke up and I was like, you know what, I didn't really finish off this video, and I didn't want to just leave it at that without explanation. So today I went to go drop the cylinder head off for the K24 so we can have that back and ready to go, and we have all the other parts pertaining to the head over there. And I also went to the drive shaft shop called South Bay Driveline. That's kind of where I go to do all my driveline stuff for my wagon, my brother's car, my red car. Probably gonna do the giveaway car drive shaft over there as well too. I didn't really have too much planned for today. I just came out to finish up the other door panel for the giveaway car. So if you guys remembered, we flocked the top half of the door panel, and I already got one side all assembled, to only realize that this bottom section right here, I didn't flock it. I thought this whole section was covered by the molding, but it's not, so I had to flock all of that and the other one as well too. So I just finished assembling the other door panel and using screws and washers to pretty much secure both the panels back together, right? And the only one I don't have on is this one because the freaking tab is missing, but it's plenty strong, and once it's on the car, it's going to structurally hold itself up when it's clipped in. So that's all I have for this video, guys. It wasn't much, but progress is better than no progress. You guys already know. And after driving La Ponda for quite some time now, I am going to be overhauling the suspension. So these are energy suspension bushings for the rear LCAs. I was going to go aftermarket LCAs, but I don't want it to be all flashy, so I'm just going to press out bushings on the stock LCA, leave it at that. I was going to get stock style camera kits, but then I was like, man, you know what, the cart is starting to get expensive. So I have these Skunk 2s that I cleaned up really nicely, great bushings on it still, and I'm going to be using that on La Ponda. And then we have trailing arm bushings right here that I bought for my trailing arm. Didn't realize that they were different than the DA, so I had to buy DA ones, and I had all this right here as spares. The only thing in the rear end that I'm not going to be changing is the front toe adjuster. I'm going to leave that one stock, leave it be. On Rock Auto, I did order a bunch of brake stuff. So one of the box showed up today. This is the front brake pads. I'm waiting for front rotors to show up. The back end stuff, I got new drums, new shoes, new rear wheel cylinders. I got both of them, and we're gonna do the entire brake system again, bleed out all the lines, because I feel like the brakes, sometimes they're soft and normal, sometimes it's just stiffening up out of nowhere, but it still stops like it should, right? And gotta definitely adjust the e-brake cable, because it'll crack all the way to the top and the car will still roll. So I'm waiting for all of that stuff to show up from Rock Auto in the next week or so, hopefully, and pretty much La Ponda is going to get a full suspension overhaul. When I say full suspension overhaul, I mean like I'm going to change the whole entire front end as well too. You guys probably heard I didn't even mention it. I'm waiting for funds to buy the lower front ball joints, the wheel bearings, the upper control arm, and the bushings for the front LCAs. So like I said, La Ponda is going to get a full suspension overhaul to make it really ride solid, because even though the function forms are in the car and it rides well, you can really hear the squeak and the car be dancing. So I want to overhaul the suspension before I decide I'm going to get rid of La Ponda. Except I don't know when I'm going to get rid of La Ponda, because I'm actually enjoying it, but when I do, it's going to be freshened up for the next person. So like I said, not really much setup for today. That's the update. I hope you guys enjoyed this one a little bit. You guys already know the drill. If you want to stick around to see more updates on all of the shenanigans going on here on the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.